I bet you thought the title of this video was going to turn out to be clickbait, but it isn't. Not really. I mean, obviously, you can't automate your workout itself, but if you're like me, the hardest part of your workout is starting your workout. That's why I created an automated personal trainer of sorts for myself in Trello. And it's one of my most used and favorite workflows I've created so far. It also isn't limited to being an automated personal trainer. It can also be an automated personal assistant of sorts for your business. Before I dive into showing you exactly how you can create this for yourself, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that little notification bell so that you never miss a tutorial or upload. Okay, so before you even go into Trello at all, you need to figure out what the rules are of the routine that you need to set up. I'm going to be using the workout concept as the example in the video because that's how I set my first one of these up. But it can be translated to any other process or routine, especially habit routine that you're trying to build in your business or in your personal life. But ultimately, you can't set up an automation if you don't know what the rules are. So for me, I had a specific list of different types of workouts. I like to change it up for myself because if I do the same exact thing every day, I get bored with it too fast. So that while this would still help me build a habit for it, it wouldn't truly become a routine for me personally if I don't have any enjoyment in it or have any fun with it, right? So I have different types of things that I like to change up. Plus, I know when it comes to working out, you're not really supposed to do the same exact thing every day. You're not supposed to work the same muscles every day. So while there are certain things that I do daily, like morning stretches, daily walk, those things are a daily thing. These other things that I do get mixed in at different intervals based on what I've decided. And some of my decision-making process for that came from certain things that take longer. So like a HIIT workout is going to be more like 20, 25 minutes for me. And I don't have 25 minutes on certain mornings. So on those mornings, I might choose to do something that is going to take less time, but allows me to keep with my habit and my routine, right? So like I said, you need to figure out all of those rules and the schedule that you want to set first, and then you go into Trello and build it. So what I have here is one list that has all the different cards that are essentially like template cards for me that are the different workouts that I'm going to be incorporating into my week. On my command center, this list is collapsed and all the way to the right because I don't want it to be in my way or in my face because this is not where I'm working from. This is like the repository, as it were, of workouts. It's my library. Maybe that's an easier word. So I've got all these different cards, and you can see some of them have attachments. Those attachments are, for me, particular YouTube videos that I really, really enjoy. And this is just for me, but I find this really, really helpful. When I'm naming the attachment here, I put the length of it because you can see here, like this is a 7-minute video. This one's a 10-minute video. I happen to know like this one's 8 minutes, this one's 5 minutes. So when I'm starting my day, while it's going to automatically do my morning stretches, I still have a little bit of flexibility here based on if I hit the snooze button a couple too many times and I don't have as much time to do everything. So you'll see that on a couple of my cards here that there are different videos that are linked here to give me options. And options and variety are big for me when it comes to sticking with this kind of habit. But like I said, I set up the rules for myself that morning stretches and daily walk, they're an everyday thing. I set up the rule that my PT that I do, that's through an app. That's why there are no links here because I have a separate app that I use for that. I do that twice a week now because I'm on maintenance. I row on my rowing machine downstairs, also doesn't require an app, but I do that once a week. I do abs, I think twice a week. And HIIT is kind of one of those hit or miss, pun not intended. For me right now, I'm not doing it super frequently, but it's still in my library, so I could incorporate it if I wanted to. Where I am working from is my move everyday list. And that's going to be a list that's further to the left on my Trello board so that it is easier for me to see when I first open up my board. I recommend when you're just starting with this, setting up a daily reminder card for yourself on your board that is just don't forget to move. right? You don't necessarily want to set up a reminder for each of these individual cards because if you do that, then it honestly it has a tendency to become over notified and then you might start to ignore it. But if you do a daily reminder in the morning until it becomes part of your routine to just go into Trello for this, that's a great way to not only ping you and remind you, but it's already taking you into Trello. So it's like once you click on that notification, you're already in that board. So kind of a little pro tip as you're building the habit here. But essentially, you're going to set up scheduled automations for each of these. And I'm going to show you what I've got here. So these are not enabled rules here on this board because I don't work them from here. This is a training board as it says. But I went ahead and used a little tag to make them easy for us to find. So these are going to be scheduled automations. And then once we're in here, like I said, to make this easy for us to find, I put the tag on them of move every day. So I'm going to go ahead and filter down to those. And these are all the different automations that make it run. Yes, it definitely looks like a lot of them, but you will only have as many as you need depending on how much variety you're looking for in your routine. So basically, I'm making an automation for each card in that workout options library. So that first one, that Hinge Health PT that I showed you, I do that on Mondays and Thursdays. So the automation for that is triggered by every Monday and Thursday. And then I do all of these at 5 a.m. personally, but you could set the time throughout the day, whatever makes most sense for you. On Mondays and Thursdays at 5 a.m., I have it copy the card that's in my workout library over to my move every day list. There were other options here as far as whether I copied the card or moved the card or created a fresh card. All of those would work in different ways, but for me, copying the card made the most sense because in the cases where I have those attachments with the YouTube video links, I definitely want those to come up over into my move every day list. I don't just want the reminder of, oh, you're supposed to do your stretches, and then I have to scroll all the way over to my stretches library card and open it up to get those links. No, it's all about the path of least resistance here. So I want all of those attachments to come over. But I personally didn't want the cards to be moving back and forth. It's easier for me to be able to mark them complete and let them archive themselves when I've done the task versus send it back. But you could honestly set it up with an automation that when you mark it complete, it goes back to the workout library. I just chose not to. So I have it copy the card into that list. So this is every Monday and Thursday. For my morning stretches, it's every day. And so that trigger is every day. But then when it comes to rowing, like I said, I only do that once a week. So that only happens on Tuesdays, right? So you get kind of where I'm going here. Wednesdays and Saturdays for ab workouts and stuff like that. So let's build really quick an automation so you can see it from scratch here. So again, make sure you're in scheduled. Then you're going to come into create automation. You're going to add your trigger. And this is where you need to have determined what frequency you want to do something. So let's say I'm going to do something on Mondays and Thursdays. So on this second option here, I'm going to go to every, and I'm just going to select Monday. And then I'm going to click back in there again and Thursday. So you can see now that I have every Monday and Thursday, and then I'm going to choose the time. I always recommend choosing the time because it will just automatically come over without that, but this gives you control over when it will move over based on when you typically do that routine. So because I typically do it between 6 and 7 a.m., I move them over at 5 a.m. so that I am guaranteed that they're going to be there for me, even if I happen to get up early that day. So I come in here to the clock and I put 5 a.m. And then our trigger is good there. So I'm going to hit the blue plus sign for the trigger. And then here's where I'm going to decide, again, that I'm copying that card. So I'm going to go into the move cards option here for actions. And I'm going to go to the second option here. Now, if you're going to move the card over, then you're going to leave it on move. But I'm going to copy. So instead of move, I'm going to switch to copy. And then I'm going to come into our little filter, our funnel here. And this is where I'm going to tell it the particular card that I want it to do. So because I'm using what's in the title of the card, so Hinge Health or abs or stretches or whatever, I'm going to come over here to the content option. And then you've got with a name. You could do this by the name of the card, just the title of the card, the description, or both, but I'm doing it just by the name. And then I always go with containing. It's just a little bit more forgiving. So then I'm going to come here and I'm just going to type the word arms because that's one of the cards I know I have. I'm going to hit the little plus sign. We can see here our filter was applied. And then I'm going to tell it where to go. I want it to go to my move everyday list. You could technically have it go from this board to a different board if you started with this little icon first to choose a different board. But I've just decided to have mine on the same board. But you do have that option if you want to have your libraries on a different board and have them move over into your command center board. That's great. And then this option here is just if you want to put a due date on it right away. You absolutely can do that. I think I put mine that I set them to be due at 6:30 or something like that. That's totally fine if you want to do that, but it's not going to pull over a reminder for you. So if you're doing that because you think it's going to give you a notification, it's not. So in most cases, I feel like you probably won't need that. If you want to have a reminder, then like I said, you're going to want to create a special card that reminds you for the overall routine, not have that create itself on each individual card. Okay. So we're going to hit our blue plus sign here. We can see as we scroll up that it already came over. And then I don't need to do anything else here. That's literally it. So I'm going to hit save. And my new automation is right here at the bottom. Every Monday and Thursday at 5 a.m., copy each card with arms to move every day. Now you can see on this one here that I added in the filter of, say, copy the cards only from the workout options over to move every day. You don't need to specify what list your library is on. I did that because honestly, I found myself not always doing the thing. So like if I didn't go for a walk that day, then I would end up with duplicate cards getting created and I didn't want that. So you may find, depending on your routine and also depending on your consistency with your habit, that it is helpful for you to specify what list you want it to copy over from so that you don't end up with duplicates on your move everyday list or on your list that you're working from. So it's totally optional. I think in most cases, you probably won't need to do that. So like I said, for me, I set a separate automation to archive those cards when I actually do the activity that I'm supposed to be doing. You could have it move back and forth, but let me just show you what that automation would look like if you want it to archive itself once you have completed the task. But this one is going to be triggered off of you marking it complete. So we're going to start with a rule here. We're going to hit create automation. We're going to add trigger. And then this is going to be a card change. If you have watched some of my older videos before they made the switch from marking a due date complete to marking a card complete, you may naturally go into the dates looking for when the due date is marked complete. It's not there anymore. It's moved. So if you're looking for marking it complete, it's going to be in card changes. And I'm going to say when a card is marked complete, and the filter that I'm going to put here is in that list of move every day. So when I complete something in my target my routine list, and only then, because I'm going to complete other cards throughout the board, I don't necessarily want this to happen to them. So definitely specify your routine list and hit that blue plus sign. And then you can see right here, the action is right on this first tab. So on the move tab, we've got archive the card. I just hit that blue plus sign. So when I complete those items, manually mark it complete, it's just going to archive the card so that it will clear off of that list. Okay, so now I want to hear, how are you going to use this type of workflow first? Are you going to create your own personal trainer or something for your business? Let me know in the comments. The online tools for your business do not need to be complicated and overwhelming. It's time to let it be easy. I hope you liked that video, and more importantly, that you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing it with a fellow solopreneur. And make sure you check out the description for links to how we can connect and maybe even work together.